Namaskar and welcome to the exciting show Sathology Debunking Mythology. In this episode, we have a very wonderful friend and guest who had already spoken to us on this topic in the last, this is a part two of the same topic. Due to time constraints, you're not able to do the last one. So this is Agastya Mahendragiri and its relevance to to Ramayana, because the Vedic literatures or history is the truthfulness of that is ascertained through geographical landmarks as well as astronomical landmarks. And astronomical landmarks are very mathematical. They have a set period of appearing and disappearing, and sometimes it can be more accurate than carbon dating, which you already heard from KK Mohammed, that carbon dating can go maximum 4,000 years, 5,000 years, that too with relative inaccuracies. And also we have seen that many times the dates are revised as and when new techniques are presented. So astronomical evidence and geographical construct of the land has been used by Vyasa, by Valmiki to, and also in other parts of Puranas, to ascertain the place of incidents and all incident and also the time of incident. So without delay, let us welcome Shri Rupa Bhati. Welcome, Rupa ji.
Thank you, Aditi ji. Thank you for this second talk. Uh, and I'm really very excited to share. There will be a new evidence coming up today. So
So
we are
in the last talk
continuing.
was the last talk was
Last,
very well received, and
thank you.
people are demanding more such discussions, and people really appreciated what you do. Uh,
Thank you. Yeah,
so
this is very interesting, of course, because we are very rich in culture and we have very rich textual evidence, and which has not been even scratched. We have not yet scratched the surface. So this is just the beginning, and this is how I and Nilesh ji, as we have teamed up and trying to discover more and more and trying to decipher more and more from the text.
it's a great
So
service that you're doing to all the history of India.
thank you
So
so much.
you can go ahead and start continuing from there.
Yeah.
That how
Uh,
Agastya Star and Mahendragiri and how they tell us the history of Ramayana. Please go
yeah.
ahead.
So I will be sharing the screen now.
Yeah.
So can you see this
Yes.
slide? Yeah. So last time we took a ride on this, and I will just take 1 or 2 minutes to go through. So we went through the Mahendragiri evidence of Ramayana times, which corroborates that Agastya was a pole star during Ramayana times. We also saw how this being a pole star, it was visually available to us from 10 degree north, and Agastya Malai, Agatti Island, all these corroborated that this region was very much dominated by Agastya. We came across the Parvata, which means height, and we will see how other synonyms also means height uh, in the construct of the stories related to Agastya. I also created and animated how Canopus was going south, and I showed you how this was going down and how this was actually measuring the height of mountain in a relative sense. We also saw Mahendragiri, Mahindra name implication. So it is a particular star in Vishnu Purana, etc. We found a very interesting name of Agastya as Indrabahu. So we will see how Indrabahu is related to, that is, Agast is related to Sirius star, which is one of the Indra star. We saw the Canopus as we went to the southern latitudes. It appeared more clear and clearer and very much clear from the Mahendragiri. We saw Sirius star also in the upper Mahendragiri latitude, which was visible, and I showed you two of the epochs. So the other epoch, that is 38,000 BCE, is going to solve one of the problems. We will see that today. And we stopped here last time, where this evidence was completely analyzed, that how at 10° north Canopus was seen on the horizon, and at 8° north, while going more south, Canopus was completely visible, and Vanarapati was said now that you can jump into the shore side. And it is very interesting to note that after these Vanaras jump off that towards the shore, there are more tirthas there, you know. So this is very interesting to note two things. One, that you will be seeing 19.9°, that is a Nasik latitude, where the Agastya, physical Agastya was himself present there, and he was noting down the proper motion or the condition of Sirius star, which is known as Mrigavyada. Now, Sirius was at horizon in Nasik, but it was very much nicely could be visualized from Mahendragiri latitude, the whole latitude of that Indian peninsula. So this was the condition of Ramayana times, which corroborates that yes, this was the only condition where Agastya could have been in the Nasik, and the other thing, Canopus, which was just seen above the horizon from the Mahendragiri latitude. Now, where did all the researchers went wrong? So there is a very famous paper by Shri K.D. Abhyankar, now he is no more, and he arrived onto the condition that a northerner Agastya was going towards south, and while going towards south, he crossed Vindhya, and he first time saw Canopus star, that is Agastya star, and then he named that star by his own name. So this is K.D. Abhyankarji's version, which is recorded in three paper, uh, 3 pages paper. You can read it there. IJHS has this paper uploaded. And he was not having access to Parashara Tantra. So we should thank Sri R.N. Iyengar ji for giving us this text so that we could understand what actually Agastya Vindhya lore was. So you can see here uh, in the next picture, uh, it says Shrutapurvaste Prithivya Meru Mandara Atirikta Prabhava. So actually Meru Mandara Atirikta Prabhava of the Prithivyam, of the earth, it meant about the actual precision. This is the beauty of this story. And the whole story then went exactly same as Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Purana, what they said. Uh, that Agastya made Vindhya prostrated and etc. The Parashar Tantra text gives us Sa Esho Agastyaha Shaila Vriddhi Vyaghat Nimittam Na Pratyeti Dakshinasyam Udeti Tasyam Eva Astam Gachatiti. That means when Agastya reached the southern point, there he started rising and setting. So physical Agastya cannot rise and set. This is all the story about the Canopus star. So finally, there was no northerner Agastya, physical Agastya going towards south. It was always the star Canopus going towards the south. And this event was happening in 19,000 BC. So one has to note this when this event was happening. So K.D. Abhyankar, what he gave, during 5000 BC, some person was moving, Agastya Muni was moving down, and he saw the star coming from the south. So it is the star is not going towards south, but star is going towards north, and he is coming towards south, and they meet there. So this is kind of a evaluation done by K.D. Abhyankar. But actually, what was happening? It was happening that the star was going towards south, not the physical moon,
Can I
and
ask
it
you
was
one
going
question?
south only. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, how people, and this is I know you know the answer, but for the viewers, how do people know that Agastya is Canopus?
In all the astronomy texts, like Surya Siddhanta, which we dated for 12,000 BC, the latest date is there. Interestingly, there is Agastya mentioned in Jaimini Brahmana also, and mostly they are all the texts are saying that it was a star.
Okay.
Even Aitreya Brahmana has Mriga Vyada. We will see that how Sirius star is also there, uh, which is said like Vishnu Purana is having Mahendra as a star. So we have lost so many information. Like this information is such important information. Even R.N. Iyengar ji would have been understanding what he was translating, but then he didn't say anything about it. So this is a pole star condition when the Agastya goes to south, and then now he is rising and setting in south. So he is rising and setting in south only, not south southeast, not south southwest. It is exactly rising in the south and setting in the south. That means it is very near to the pole point, and now it is circumambulating that pole point there, and it is rising and setting in the south. Why it is saying so? Because it is seen from not from the equator, not beyond the equator, because it is the southern hemispheric stars. So it will be seen like rising and setting. So after reaching the south also it is rising and setting only. So finally, when the Parashar Tantra came three years before today's time, then only we could access actually that this story of Agastya, which is present in Vishnu Purana, which is present in Ramayana and Mahabharata also, very elaborately it is being discussed there. But every time there was a thin line which was not seen between the physical Agastya and the Canopus Agastya. So only Parashar Tantra gave us this idea that it was actually the story was about the astronomical phenomena. So this is how this is deciphered, and it was not happening in 5000 BCE as K.D. Abhyankar gave the date, but it was happening around 19,000 BCE when the uh, Canopus started moving from Kurukshetra and crossed Vindhya. So from Kurukshetra 29 to 26 BCE, it was there in Kurukshetra, and from Kurukshetra it started to come down and it crossed the Vindhya. So just imagine a small lore is containing such deep antiquity. Uh, One should realize this and appreciate that how these are being kept as a form of lore.
Absolutely.
Ji. So I will go to the next slide.
Please.
Yeah. So we saw that visibility of Agastya at Mahendragiri, 13,000 epoch, 13,000 BCE. And we saw the other Mahendragiri from where Sirius star, that is Mahan Indra at Mahendragiri, and the same epoch. Now, what about the Nasik? So we saw that the star was grazing on the horizon, and Agastya is present there. Um, and it is only this epoch, during this Ramayana time, and Ramayana text is recording it that Agastya is present there, physical Agastya is present there. So we understand now the Indra Bahu connection. One is Indra, which Sirius, which is visible from the north. Other one is at the Mahendragiri, which is Canopus. So they both are having uh, kind of bahus, the two arms. And now you will see in this picture, uh, in between you see from the point all the hour lines are radiating out. And in the right side you will be seeing Sirius star. and Canopus is very near to the pole point. So this is how they become Indrabahu. So just 180-degree across. And what is happening now? At early in the morning, if one star is visible, the other will not be visible. So for all 12 hours, one star will be visible. For other 12 hours, the other star will be visible. So this is how these both stars were used for navigation purposes. Now, what is the implication of this? Even Nilesh Obji, he uh, almost overlooked, I think, may have missed, in fact. Agastine Antare Tatra Sagare Viniveshitah Chitrasanunagha Shriman Mahindraha Parvatottamah. So this verse gives the idea where Canopus was as a South Pole star. And in this picture, you can see the Vega, that is Abhijit, Brahma Rashir Vishuddhascha Shuddhascha Paramarishaya Achishmantah Prakashante Dhruvam Sarve Pradakshinam. So this picture is taken from Vataparai Falls, which is on the Mahendragiri latitude. And you can see how Canopus and uh, Vega both are exactly in front of each other. Now, supposingly, a few of the researchers were like in dilemma that Brahma Rashi must not be Abhijit, it can be something else. And they have so many speculations, and uh, they tried to like evaluate in a different format, and they went to 7,000, 6,000 BC. Even some researchers said 5,000 BC must be the Ramayana time. And likewise, P.V. Vartaka, he also gave something 7,900 BC, something like that. But this is the only evidence, these two evidence, which says that Ramayana could not have happened a day later from 12,209 BC, Ram Ravan Yuddha, which with the help of 300 plus evidence Sri Nilesh Obji had already evaluated. Only this verse and some more, like 16 more verses, which he didn't have access how to understand why it is not corroborating things. So those verses were taken by me, and I'm evaluating that, and it will be coming in my book, Tale of Three Cities, Kurukshetra, Avanti, and Lanka. There I will be discussing these 16 verses of Ramayana, why it was not corroborating uh, with the finds of Sri Nileshji, and that is a problem of geography. And that is also going to corroborate that Ramayana didn't happen a day later from 12,209 BC. So this is one of the most beautiful part, which we also have two pole star conditions in Surya Siddhanta. So both have these texts there. So finally, Brahma Rashi can, supposingly, if Brahma Rashi was something else, then Agastya wouldn't have been able to corroborate this Brahma Rashi. Since Agastya is a pole star, a south pole star, therefore Brahma Rashi cannot be other than Vega. One has to note and understand this. Because during 12,000 to 13,000 BCE, this was the time of 2,000 years from 11 to 13,000 BC. These two pole stars were actually opposite to each other, and in north and in south. So Brahma Rashi can be nothing else than Vega. All the researchers should understand this situation. Now we are coming to serious how this star, Mrigavyada star, is going to solve a mystery of Vindhya. So that is why I took the caption as Ramayana, Agastya and Mahendragiri. This is going to solve so many problems of the past. So Sirius during 12,009 BC, Nasik, you can see It is just grazing on the horizon. But as we go back in 38,000 BCE, you will see that the Sirius star is a little at little more height. It has gained more altitude during 38,000 BCE. And the same thing is from Nasik only. Now, then from where Sirius was visible in the previous cycle, because we are seeing a pattern uh, in Nasik, Agastya was present, his brother was present near Nasik, and they must have been visualizing this star. So they have come down to some more latitudes and they settled down in Nasik to visualize the star and its connection with Agastya and other stars also. But in 38,000 BCE it was much up. And where was it? Its last station in 38,000 BC, and you would find the answer Vindhya. So Vindhya range was visualizing this Sirius star, just like Nasik situation on the horizon. So that was the last station of Sirius, which was dividing the geography into two parts. So we'll see how it is dividing the geography into two parts, and we always remembered that till to this date, uh, it has gone into a very weird format of Arya and Dravid division. But it was not like that in the previous times. It was the divide due to some astronomical phenomena, and it retained for thousands and thousands of years. You can see 38,000 BC is the another condition of pole star, Augustus condition of pole star. So here you come to the slide where Arya Vartaha is uh, Vindhyottaraha. So this is how Panini remembered uh, the Indian geography. So Manu also gives this that Vindhya word has come. So strangely, Vindhya word or Mahendragiri word is not present in Rig Veda. Rig Veda doesn't mention Mahendra, although the whole Rig Veda is eulogizing Indra like anything. In a humanless form, it is eulogizing Indra. But still, Mahendra name had not come during that time. So it was the Ramayana time when Mahendragiri Parvata, Mahendra Tanai river were named. And from Ramayana time to Mahabharata time, 5661 BCE, what Nilesh ji gave, during that time it had become Tirtha. So Arjun goes to Mahendragiri, Mahendra river also. So those became a Tirtha by the time of Mahabharata. So the geography was the Vedic land was Sapta Sapta Treda, Sapta Sindhu. These were the region of Vedic times. And basically, you will find that all the human habitation was having by the rivers. So there was no name of any country or city or region or territory in Rig Veda. You will not find a single word which can corroborate that this was a name of place. So name of place didn't appear during Rig Vedic time. But interestingly, now we are coming to Vidya. That is how Vindhya comes into being. So from root Vyadha, that is to mean to be pierced. Now we will see what kind of evidence is piercing here. So from Vyad, we get Vidya. From Vidya, we get Vindhya. We get Vyadha from Vadhya, Vyadha. And from Vindhya, we get Vindhya. And from Vyadha, we get hunter. And from Vindhya also we get hunter. So one of the meaning of Vindhya is hunter or piercer. Vyad means, that also means hunter and piercer. Vyad again gives you Mriga Vyadha. Mriga Vyadha means a huntsman, the dog star Sirius, which is mentioned in Aitareya Brahmana and Surya Siddhanta. So as I mentioned that Agastya was also known as star Canopus. It was known in the astronomy texts. The dog star Sirius, that is Mrigavyadi, is also mentioned in Surya Siddhanta, and it is mentioned in Aitareya Brahmana also. Mrigavyadi is one of the name of Shiva also, and he is one of the 11 Rudras. So now we will see why the Vindhya range is dividing. Uh, Now we understand why Vindhya range is dividing the country into two parts because of the geography also, uh, that range was there, as well as because of the astronomy also. So Mrigavyad's last station was Vindhya in 38,000 BC. So the Agastya and Mahendragiri is solving this problem also. So Vindhya is not of this cycle, but Vindhya was of the previous cycle where the Sirius star was rising. And Sagar is doing yajna. This is from Balakanda. Sagar is doing yajna between Himavan and Vindhya. So during the King Sagar Ikshvaku lineage king, in his time only the Vindhya name had already appeared. The names started appearing. This is a post Rigvedic times, or almost Rigveda was ending any addition and alteration. And I'm into the search where the line is, from where Rigveda completely stopped editing and altering. Supposingly, if Ramayana, if Rigveda was being edited after Ramayana, then the place names would have appeared. A lot of place names should have come into Rigveda because Rama took his voice from Ayodhya till Lanka. So there were so many names already coming up. But Rigveda doesn't have any names, names of places. Shrikant Talagiri ji tried to name few like Ilaspada and something like that. And Aryan ji tried to name Irina as Ran of Kutch. But I would differ because these are very ancient names of geographical construct. So human habitation was almost by the side of rivers, and only by the river names they were known. The tribes were Panchajana. They were known by living that side, or even Dasharajanya war. It is happening by the river side. So Kurukshetra word also didn't appear during the Rigvedic time. Neither Mahendra word appeared in Rigvedic time. So this is how I do research. I try to shaft out all those mm, interesting elements, and I want to see if they are present in Rigveda. So how old Rigveda could be. So Sagara time, Vindhya is known, and this means that King Sagar is also a very ancient king. Mm, and Vindhya name appeared during 38,000 BC. So 38,000 BC is having too many uh, confluences of evolutions. You know? So we will see how this is evolving into. I hope you understood that how Vyad, how Vindhya came, how
Yes.
Mrigavyada came. This
Yes.
is very interesting. You need to go into the etymology of each word to understand.
So
Like Agat,
In Mahabharat also it is mentioned, and some viewers always question me why I bring Mahabharat, because Mahabharat has a lot of history there. So the
Ji,
Aryavrat is a land between Himalaya and Vindhyachal,
yeah,
and which is corroborated here.
Aryavata, which is corroborated. Yeah,
Yes. So when people say there is a contradictions in Vedic literatures, actually the contradiction is in our own minds, and
exactly.
sometimes we try to impose that on these scriptures, but these scriptures are written by some people far more qualified than many of us today,
Ji.
and the geographical accuracy is remarkable, you know.
It's very remarkable. And it was completely like, you can see very easily, like Udak Mandalam.
Yes.
Now people have this, people say why Tamil must have come first and Sanskrit must have come later. All kind of debates goes on. But they don't understand that geographically Chidambaram, Chit Ambaram. So Chit Ambaram is nothing but the Sanskrit name.
Yes.
Udag Mandalam, Uti. from where again August hops up during 9500 BCE. And this is the time of first Sangama. Yeah. So, what kind of Sangama is happening? August is doing Sangam on there on that latitude. So later writers from Purana Nuru and all these, they try to understand that Tamil must have been most ancient, but it appears like uh, Sanskrit could have been the initial Sanskrit could have been the most mm, ancient language on this earth. Why I say so? Because I found the map of Ireland, in which Gangani, uh, Utkani, and all these words are there. We have Udak Mandalam that is the other name of Uti. Uti is a British given name, and we find Udak or Haramukha in Kashmir. So Udak word is there also. Udak word is Udak Mandalam is here in south also. So the whole geography was like having so many Sanskrit names. Uh, for some reason, we would not be able to find mm, the river names etymology, a very proper etymology of river names, because they're so ancient that it was very initial construct of Sanskrit going on at that time. And we find that Rigvedic Sanskrit is very different, Vedic Sanskrit is very different, and then the Brahmana Sanskrit is little different, and then of course Ramayana times Valmiki is writing Ramayana, so Valmiki is saying Ramayana, he is saying that. So Valmiki was not very learned person. He was बोलते हैं ना डाकू थे, and he transformed, उनका हृदय परिवर्तन हुआ, he
He was
transformed.
not Daco, he was a hunter.
Hunter, sorry, yeah, sorry.
He was,
So
he
he
was
was
looking
hunter,
at one.
yeah. So his Sanskrit language must have been very different from the Brahmana and Vedic Sanskrit. So we see that in today's time also we have so many gradation of Hindi. In last 100 years, if you touch some other book, that will be very different, very difficult Hindi, Sanskritized Hindi will be there, and now it is something different. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll see how. So, what is Vindhya actually? So, Vindhya is the hunter constellation of Western chart. So, the hunter word has gone from us to them, not from them to us. And this Orion the hunter is nothing but now we have this iconography as Nataraja. So, we see many of the stars around this, and we see the Mrigvyad, the Sirius star, where the Nataraja's one leg is posing to, and August is just down the Gajahasta Mudra. And this whole construct is of the hunter constellation. So this we lost, but this is found in Ptolemaic chart. So we lost few of the things like Auriga was Agrahayani, the Lepus constellation. The Lepus means hare, rabbit, and Apasmar uh, constellation is known as Muyalaka. Muyalaka is nothing but Muyala is a rabbit in Tamil. So the southern India was having this compass as Gangadhara Shiva. This was used by Malabar navigators, and the whole iconography of Shiva was pointing to different stars in the vicinity, and this was used as. So we find Mrigavyad, the dog star, the Sirius in Aitareya, Brahmana, and Surya Siddhanta, as I told you earlier. And Betelgeuse is Ardra, whose deity is Rudra, and it is called Rudrasa Bahu in Shiva Sahasranam Strotam. So these are little discoveries by me, and I just put it here together to show how Vindhya actually uh, works. So we today discussed actually, the Ramayana time, 12,000 BCE. We also discussed the other pole star condition time of 38, 39 BC. And this was a very interesting time during which we find that wild rice is found in Sri Lanka. This evidence comes. At that point of time, this Sri Lanka was a part of India only. It had a same continental shelf. Actually, the Sri Lanka and India both are connected. They are of the same continental shelf before the Eustace happened. That is during Ramana times when the sea level rise to 120 meters. So it was rising gradually. After 50 meters, it suddenly shorted to 120 meters, and that is how this Sri Lanka went away from our mainland. We discussed this today, these two of the aspect, and I say this Hindu civilization lands on the culture ecology of India with Agastya and Indra evidence. So
Yeah.
this whole timeline is like in that we only discuss these two to corroborate. Actually, this Agastya and Mahendragiri, they this solved the Vindhya problem. From where this word came, why the country divided into two parts, what was happening on that latitude. So these are all hidden ideas, but they are there in the text. We just need to relook into them and just discover them again.
No, looks great, and I think it was a great concluding presentation on Agastya. There's a lot more to discuss about it, and I think you're writing a book also, so
Yeah, I'm
we can
writing a book also. Yeah.
on this topic, and also Nilesh Oak has also done the similar topic with us
Ji,
on this, and I think he showed the same slide.
ji.
So it's a great recap, and Rupa ji, thank you for your efforts, and for
Thank you
viewers
so
who
much.
watch this. Astronomy is different than astrology. Astrology is more concerned with the marking the positions of stars in the sky and also predicting behavior or history based on the star positions. But astronomy is more mathematical, and astrology is derives from astronomy. And astronomy has been a core mathematical topic in the Vedic sciences. So, viewers, if you like this video, it will be live on YouTube shortly. You can comment over there. If you have any questions or comments, you can send it on the YouTube channel. And if you want to pursue more, I would like we'll invite Rupa Bhati ji more to tell us about her other researches which she's doing.
Thank
So
you so much.
thank you for your
It
time.
will be, it will be really, really delightful to be there with you to discuss some more. पिटारे में बहुत कुछ है. It will come up, come out.
Everything will come out, and we are very honored to have you here, Rupaji, and
Thank you
like
for
to
this.
invite you again. For viewers, keep watching and keep subscribing. I'll see you in another show in near future. Thank you.